What is that? Can you all hear that? Sounds like jingle bells to me because it's time for another Christmas review, another classic Christmas review. Now, I have no books for this review tonight, so have my little reindeer out, purely for decoration, of course. Tonight's review is a very common Christmas classic that people like to watch at this time of year. It is Christmas in Connecticut, which came out in 1945. It stars Barbara Stanwyck, Dennis Morgan, and a supporting cast, a very awesome supporting cast in my opinion, of S.C. Sakall and Sydney Greenstreet, which those two have actually paired together before in Casablanca, which of course many regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time, Casablanca. So they are together again in this Christmas classic. So I would definitely describe this movie as a comedy. Not exactly a screwball comedy, but it is just a romance comedy, your basic romantic comedy. And Barbara Stanwyck's character actually is based off a real person named Gladys Tabor. And Gladys Tabor, she had a very popular food column that ran from before World War II, and I believe it ran all the way into the 70s. So Gladys Tabor, very well-known food columnist in the U.S., and she happened to live, you guessed it, she lived in Connecticut. And put your warm clothes on, because that's where we're going tonight, guys. That's why I have my pullover on. We're going to Connecticut to spend Christmas at the countryside. So let's talk about the plot, guys. The plot is Barbara Stanwyck. She plays a food columnist, and she writes these articles that sound like she just lives in Connecticut on a farm. She talks about living on a farm and making these wonderful foods for her husband, and she also has a baby boy, or just a baby in general, with her husband. And they live happily on this farm. She makes all this food. She's a wonderful housewife. Well, it turns out Barbara Stanwyck is a terrible cook. She doesn't know anything about cooking. She learns all her food recipes from S.Z. Sakall's character. And Sakall, I love to mention him because he has such a strong German accent. And anytime you see him in a movie, he stands out so much. He was probably I thought he was the funniest guy in the movie. Sakall, he has a restaurant. I'm assuming the movie starts out in Manhattan, but she uses all his recipes to come up with her food column. And she gets into sort of a predicament, of course. There has to be a conflict, right? Where a World War II vet, he just is obsessed with the idea of eating food because he was starving out at sea, and he would read Barbara Stanwyck's character's food column, and he just has this urge to meet her. It ends up to where he can meet her. Someone writes in for him saying, "Hey, I'd love to meet you, and I'd love to eat some of your cooking." And of course, this soldier is Dennis Morgan. So Stanwyck's character is called in by Sydney Greenstreet, the head of the the news company, the paper company, and he says, "Look, you're gonna cook for this soldier. You're gonna let him spend Christmas in Connecticut with you on your farm." And she's just like, "Oh my God, I've been lying all this time, and my boss doesn't know it." And then to make things worse, Greenstreet, her head boss, says, "Hey, I think I'll spend Christmas with you too, and you can cook for me, and I can see what my most popular food columnist can do." So she finds herself in this crazy situation where she is able to, of course, get a farm in Connecticut, and the entire movie it just revolves around her pleasing everyone and not getting caught in her big lie that she really isn't a cook, that she she doesn't have a husband, and that she doesn't have a kid. And all the craziest situation is the kid and how they fake having a child, which is pretty hilarious. I don't this movie isn't exactly like it's not a Christmas movie that has a moral to it or a wonderful story to it. It's just your straight up comedy, guys. It's nothing too deep. If you really enjoy comedies, then definitely watch this. I recommend it for you. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. I know people really enjoy it, but I think this is the type of Christmas movie for myself that I can watch maybe like once every 10 years. It wasn't too amazing or special for me, but if you enjoy these kind of, I don't know, just crazy comedies where they're stuck in these type of situations, then it's perfect for you. But that's pretty much going to be it for this review, everyone. I'm going to have another Christmas review out for you pretty soon. I'm actually going to be reviewing Little Women, which I think that's such a wonderful Christmas movie to watch. Maybe not a lot of people think it, but personally, I think it's great for Christmas time. So that's going to be it. Ho, ho, ho.